What's up, everyone? Thomas here with ForReel Movie News and Reviews. And as part of my Sundance coverage, I am absolutely delighted to talk today with Luca Cappelli, the editor of the film You Won't Be Alone, which has had its debut at Sundance and is slated to have a theatrical release here in the States on April 1st. Luca, I actually am very, very honored to be talking with you today.
Oh my God, you shouldn't. Thank you so much for having me.
I am. And you know what? So here's the thing. I want to start this with a tweet that I had sent out the night that I watched You Won't Be Alone at the premiere. And so I said, me 10 minutes into You Won't Be Alone. I really don't know if this is for me. Me 10 minutes away from the end of You Won't Be Alone. OMFG, this is a masterpiece. And so
Awesome.
I share this because this movie is currently and likely ultimately will be my favorite film of Sundance. It is just such a unique experience and unlike anything that I've seen at a film festival or even ever in film. And I attribute a lot of that to how this film was edited and pieced together, which is where you come in.
Wow.
So,
all right. Well, thank you so much.
yeah. What is your feelings about that? What is the response been to this film as far as what you've encountered so far?
Well, yeah, no, great. Yeah, in general, I'm trying to keep up with all the reviews that are coming out, and I've never seen so many reviews in my entire life on a film that I worked on. So it's quite it's really exciting, and I don't know, it's just interesting that you said it seems like a lot of people seems to have a problem with the first part of the film for some reason, or anyway, they're saying that, it sort of took them a while to get into it. And, it's one of those things that when you're editing is really hard to predict, but obviously for the way the story is structured, it also kind of makes sense. I guess it, it kicks into full gear a little bit later.
It really does. And
yeah.
and that's why I share that tweet, because I usually don't like to share anything that might come off as negative to filmmakers, because obviously there's a craft to what you do, and there's so much time and effort and passion put into it. And so I shared that because I went into the film not knowing what I was getting myself into, and a lot of times that's what I like to do, is go into a film and not know to know as little about it as possible. And so, yeah, I think that when looking at the film, there is this magical thing that happens, and again, I attribute to editing, where you're kind of figuring it out. You're figuring the tone. You're understanding what's going on, and it's not that I didn't like the first part of that movie. It's just that I wasn't used to it. Right, I wasn't accustomed to it, and so I had to adjust like how I watch a film and how I understand a film being put together. And then once that happened, it just like blew my mind. It just was amazing. So
Awesome.
Awesome. It's a fantastic thing. Would you mind really quickly just kind of giving a synopsis of what You Won't Be Alone is about?
It's a tricky one. I was trying to think about it, but I guess I don't know. A simple way to put it would be, it's the story of a young witch, okay, who is just been given like these witch powers, and in particular shape-shifting powers, and basically the story follows her experiencing life in different forms, in different bodies of human beings, and etc. And and also dealing throughout the story, she's dealing with her, let's call it her mentor, who's this wolf eatress, which is the witch who found her and ultimately gave her this power. I'd say that's
Yeah.
That's a way to put it, I
It is,
guess,
it
without
is a
getting
very, I think it is a very difficult movie to
sum up.
simplify, because there is
Yeah.
there's so much that goes into this narrative and the story, and so much that audiences can get out of it. And so
Yeah.
yeah, it's an experience for sure. I'm interested in how you got involved with this project.
How did I get involved? Basically, what happened was the producer, who's Christina Seaton
Mhm.
from Causeway Films, she got in touch because she saw a film that I had worked on prior to this, which is called Acute Misfortune. She saw
Mhm.
the premiere of the film at MIF, which is the Melbourne International Film Festival,
Mhm.
and she was impressed with the editing, which was nice. And so when this film started to happen and to get funding, they were looking for an editor in Melbourne, which is where I used to be based, and and also, I guess, yeah, they were looking for someone. I was this strange person, just a European living in Melbourne. So I
Mhm.
was coming in the film, bringing, my sensibility to it. And Goran Stolevski, who's the director, is a similar kind of creature, because he spent the first 14, 13 years of his life in Macedonia, and then he moved to Melbourne. So we sort of bonded on that. And also, obviously, as you've seen, the film has a certain European atmosphere, European themes, European characters in some way. And so, yeah, they got in touch, and yeah, I just loved the script from the first minute. I just wanted to do it. It was, the script was already um, as mind blowing and as interesting as the final film is. So, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I mean,
Yeah,
congratulations for being a part of this, and
thank you.
for having it screened at Sundance, and for getting all these reviews that you're able to read now.
Yeah. Nice.
um the film walks this very unconventional line, I might say, between being a drama, being a period piece, being a horror film, but
Yeah.
again, kind of unconventionally. Um, I, I, I guess I want to get a sense of how you felt about taking on a project that has that um, doesn't really fit into a genre as neatly as most people expect for something to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, for me, that's a really exciting element. The thing that without saying too much, but yeah, we sort of exploiting horror in some way,
Mhm.
to get it into to get somewhere else in some way, and when we are trying to transcend genre, let's say, for me that was absolutely interesting. I love films that do that, and I really liked how this story, transcended the boundaries, and it ended up becoming bigger. Just something about life, something about existence, um, and I'd say I'd like to work on more films that do that all the time. It's like I think it's it's what gets me really excited in terms of my taste, I guess.
Mhm.
Just a mixture of genres and the transcending of them, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Yeah, which is fantastic. I think when it comes to film, at least I get the sense that, like, at least Americans, we have expectations going into a film, and those
Sure.
expectations kind of fit neatly into boxes, or into genres. And so that's the cinematic experience in a lot of cases here. And so it's nice to come across a film that kind of blurs those lines, and isn't so genre focused as it is story focused, right? And so yeah, transcending genre is something that this movie does so well, and using those components to tell the story. So it makes me wonder though, is this your most challenging project that you've ever done? And if not, what has been?
Look, well, I've had a lot of challenging projects for a reason or for another. Yeah, this wasn't, I have to say, this was not too hard because, as I said, somehow the main elements in play that you see in the final film were already in the script, really, at script level. So, sometimes you, in the edit, sometimes you end up changing the script. Again, let's use that word again, transcending the script. And but this time, we didn't do too much of that. I guess the challenge was, in crafting, as you've seen, the voiceover and the montages. But because of how, because the intention was already there, and the way the film was shot was already going that direction wildly. The edit was not, it was not that challenging, in that sense. I've worked on other projects where, you have to sort of, you end up rewriting the film in the edit suite, and obviously those end up to be the most stressed. I mean, the most, they're really exciting too, but they're also really stressful, especially for the director and the scriptwriter, I suppose, who spend so much time crafting this story and they see it destroyed in front of their eyes. But which, it's crashing, but it's also, it's also what makes, it's an aspect of filmmaking that is, as an editor, obviously, I find really exciting. I don't know if I was a director, but but yeah, with this one wasn't too, too tricky in a sense. There were tricky aspects of it, but they were sort of more technical, but yeah, nothing too crazy.
It is fascinating to hear you say that, because I think that how the film is pieced together is so unique, and creates such a unique experience, because there's multiple stories that happen throughout this film, and sometimes the transitions aren't super apparent. There's no 5 years later, or it doesn't actually, the movie doesn't spell out these transitions. You just kind of go with it, and just experience it. And I wonder, like, was there ever a point where that concerned you with how the viewing experience would go for the audience, and if people would piece it together the way that you're piecing it together in your head?
Look, it was a bold move. In some way, it was a really risky move, but it's something that I'm really, into it as a sort of a storytelling device. I really love ellipses in general in films. They really excite me, and they also give this novelistic flair to the movies. It's obviously something that probably comes more from literature in some way, and yeah, I don't know. I'm really into this kind of tricks, let's call them. And also, like, we felt that giving more information in some way could reduce the impact of the film. This was something that we agreed it from the get-go. And just with, I guess it's, at the end of the day, it's without giving away too much, but it's a fairly simple story. It's like, it's almost a fairy tale. It's like a fable, like a Brothers Grimm. It's got that pre-industrial, almost medieval simplicity, and we thought that was a strength. That was the right way to tell that kind of story. And so we said, let's do it. Let's be mysterious, let's be elliptical, and it seems, I guess, even looking at the reviews, some people probably find it too elliptical, but some people love it. So
like me, like, I'm not kidding. I know that some journalists can be kind of hyperbolic when they talk to filmmakers, but I'm serious. This is my favorite film of Sundance, and it's phenomenal. I cannot stop talking about it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I do wonder. So I went into it blind and not really knowing what to expect. But I wonder if there are any films that you would recommend people see before this, whether yours or other films, that maybe inspired the editing work that you did here, or maybe reflect the editing that's done in this film, just to kind of have, so that maybe people who do want a little more expectation can visit a project before and then kind of know what to look forward to.
Well, yeah, definitely. Well, Terrence Malick was obviously a big influence in the film, and obviously all the critics are picking that up. So I guess he's I don't know, his early work like Days of Heaven, or but also, you know, the Tree of Life has a lot of that in some way.
Right.
That, you know, those could be good introductions to this kind of film, but also, yeah, and going backwards, probably more, you know, Nicholas Roeg, Don't Look Now, you know, the kind of, again, elliptical editing, and going into more, I don't know, European obscurity, probably, I don't know, Possession, Zlavsky, those kind of movies. Yeah, and I guess, yeah, in the past there was this project that I did. It was actually the first feature film that I cut, which is called Ruin, which went to the Venice Film Festival. It's almost 10 years old now, but somehow that film had yeah, lots of ellipses as well, and like this kind of a you know, yeah, just a simple story structure that makes the most out of silence and non-explanation, you know, turns that into an element of tension and mystery, I guess. Yeah, another big influence that I've been talking a lot about ellipses with another director that I work with, Alena Ludkina, that we just finished the film. Another great one is Edward Young, which I recently discovered. Yeah, his films like Taipei Story, or which is the other one? I can't come up with the title, but yeah, definitely Taipei, or The Terrorizers. That's another great example of massive ellipses used in films.
Very cool. I mean, fantastic films you're naming here, and things that there's some things you're naming that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to go watch that now, because yeah, I think I get a lot of value out of these films, that like you're saying, don't expose everything. It's not talking down to the audience, right? Like I like being able to just experience the film and the narrative, and not have it like micromanage my experience. So
of course
are these kind of films the films that really got you interested in film editing? I guess I want to get to kind of the source of what inspired you to become a film editor. And I've also seen that you've worked on other projects as well, TV commercials, music videos, and things like that. Tell me more about your career in editing.
Well, yeah, I guess the main interest has always been films and cinema, but I started out as more of a TV editor back in Italy. And yeah, I was doing more. There was a long time when I was doing trailers, which was really exciting at the start, but then, you know, you really soon you start getting a thirst for more substantial things, and then I moved to Australia about 11 years ago, and over there I actually started working with yeah, like bigger directors like Aniel Curtin-Wilson, who's the person I work with for Ruin, which I was mentioning earlier on, and yeah, I guess since I discovered long form, yeah, there's kind of nothing like it for me. You know, it's like I feel that's where that's what excites me the most, even as a viewer. You know, like yeah, for a way or in another, like yeah, that's you know, I watch movies, lots of movies. Somehow even TV series sometimes I find unsatisfying because of the, because of the time restraint, and sort of constant cliffhangers and this preoccupation with, extending everything. But films, I think, films are the thing that excites me the most, and I hope I'll be able to do more and more of them. Yeah.
I hope so too. I will be looking for your name on films going forward, because I think what you did with You Won't Be Alone is fantastic, and
Thank you.
and I'm wishing the film all the success. It already has theatrical release here in the States, and I'm excited because Sundance. Well, I mean, I was going to cover Sundance virtually anyway, but it's unfortunate that it can be released in debut in theaters when Sundance canceled their in-person experience. But when it goes to theaters and has its theatrical release, I am so excited to actually be in a theater and watching that film.
Me too.
It would just be a really, really great thing. Any last thoughts or last things you want to say to audiences about You Won't Be Alone?
Nothing apart from checking it out and sort of be open to the experience. I guess that's the key, because it is a strange film, but I think it's something that takes you in really interesting uncharted territories, and kind of I hope it's for audiences. It's one of those films that makes you extend your taste, somehow, and go out and look for, weirder things and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me, Luca. Thank you. This was
thank you so
wonderful. For those listening, once again, Luca Cappelli is the editor of You Won't Be Alone. Like I said, had its debut at Sundance, and will have its theatrical release here in the States on April 1st. And I strongly, strongly, strongly recommend watching it whenever you get the opportunity. So thank you again, Luca, and everyone out there who's listening.
So much.
Of course. Thank everyone out there who's listening. Until next time, keep it for real.